As parents, we are training our children's nervous systems to have a baseline of safety and security and flexibility, also known as a high capacity person, or a baseline of anxiety and generally not feeling safe and secure, which would be creating the low capacity person. Welcome back for another episode of True Northing. This is Kristen here doing a solo episode today. We have been getting a lot of great feedback about the low capacity man and the high capacity man from last episode. What stands out to me is that we can have empathy and understanding for the person with low capacity. As someone who never developed the ability to be with discomfort, perhaps feelings had to be avoided or numbed or suppressed in childhood. And so the person learned to respond to discomfort or challenge by deflecting, defending, or avoiding. We could think of them as someone who possibly never experienced real emotional connection. Maybe parents were present physically, but were emotionally absent or neglectful, where his emotional needs were missed. Well, then he will not know how to stay regulated and be able to hold someone else's emotional needs. In fact, he might even get triggered by his partner's needs, telling her she's asking for something unreasonable because he wasn't allowed to have needs as a kid. So who does she think she is to have needs? And that's the unconscious projecting onto the partner. We can think about this from a nervous system perspective too. As parents, we are training our children's nervous systems to have a baseline of safety and security and flexibility, also known as a high capacity person, or a baseline of anxiety and generally not feeling safe and secure, creating the low capacity person. One example of this that often comes up in my household, it actually just came up yesterday. I was thinking about this, is when we're getting ready for school in the morning or trying to get out the door for an appointment. If we are often rushing our kids, hurry, we're going to be late. You have 5 seconds to get your shoes on and walk out that door. Hustle, hustle, hustle. We have all been there as parents, myself included. We are priming their nervous systems for stress and anxiety. I once heard a case study of a woman who struggled with extreme general anxiety in adulthood. And during one of her therapy sessions, she was able to identify that it was connected to always feeling rushed as a kid by her mother to get out the door. So she learned that it wasn't safe to just relax and be. She was always hurrying and rushing for fear of being late for something. So, what we want to do instead, if we want to teach our kids to have a really healthy, flexible nervous system to build that high capacity, in this example, is we want to help them feel calm and regulated and safe, even when we have somewhere to be. So, doing whatever we need to do to create that, whether that's starting even earlier in the morning, finding gentle ways to help them along, reminding ourselves, this is a big one for me, in the moment, reminding yourself that everything will be okay, even if we aren't right on time, even if we're a couple minutes late, the world will keep spinning. There's no emergency here. Nobody's dying, right? We're safe. Everything's going to be okay. We'll get out the door when we get out the door. We'll just do our best. And if it doesn't work out, we'll figure out what needs to shift for the next time to help us get there on time. Something else that comes to mind is how we navigate sibling conflict. how we parent our children when they're not getting along, when they're having a disagreement and maybe one of them is being emotionally reactive. Here's another example. My daughter has been very into having her nails done. Nail polish or stickers, those press on nails. She loves it. She loves doing her nails. And the other day, she had just decorated her nails with something fancy. And she asked my son, her older brother, if he liked them. Well, he responded swiftly by saying, "No, I don't." And my daughter became very upset. And this created a big conflict between them. Now, a lot of parents, and I have certainly done this myself in the past, will reflexively turn to the person, in this case, my son, who triggered the emotional reaction because we can feel the other person's dysregulation, the person who's upset, we can feel it in our bodies and it's dysregulating for us. It's uncomfortable to be with somebody who's really upset and we want it to go away. And this is especially true for the lower capacity person who never learned how to regulate or tolerate discomfort. And so that person might turn to my son in this case and say, "Hey, don't be so rude. Look, you hurt her feelings. You need to say you're sorry," right? Turning to him to fix it. Look what you caused. Now, one of the problems with this message is that it tells my son that he is responsible for managing other people's reactions and that it's not okay to be honest and authentic if it's going to make someone uncomfortable. So we're setting him up for a life of people pleasing and suppressing his emotions. The other problem with this is that it robs my daughter, the person having the emotional response, it robs her of the opportunity to practice being with her own feelings, with her own discomfort, without needing to change them, and being able to let that emotion move through her to completion, not rushing to make her feelings go away or making somebody else responsible for what she's feeling. This also creates low capacity in her. And if we do that, we're preventing her from building the capacity to tolerate somebody feeling differently from her. This crucial relationship skill of being able to hold on to ourselves, our thoughts, feelings, and needs, while also leaving space for someone else's thoughts, feelings, and needs, which as an adult translates into somebody with high capacity. My partner's needs are not a threat to my own. I can hold both. I hope this is helpful, hearing these real life situations that come up in my day-to-day life with kids. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to these experiences and trying to figure out how to navigate them and really just being conscious of what the message is that we're sending to our kids. And if we can really pay attention to our own discomfort and be with our own uncomfortable feelings in the moment when they come up, even when that means just holding our kids' dysregulation, holding them through their own discomfort, we can have such an impact that it's helping us to build that capacity. We're also modeling for our kids and we are training their nervous systems. We are teaching them how to develop their capacity for real intimacy in partnership. I am so grateful you're here tuning in and being a part of this conversation. Drop us a note. Let us know how you navigate this kind of thing with your kids and what you're noticing in your own relationships with regards to high and low capacity. We'd love to hear from you. Wishing you all happy and healthy holidays, and we'll see you all next week.